Trevor, you got your parts in, right? I got mine in. Jasper got his in. Isaiah, you got yours in, right?
Yep. All in there.
Man, we have an intro skit, right?
I was talking with Isaiah, right, and he was texting in the group chat. He's got intro stuff.
Intro?
It says on the doc your name's been there for like probably 2 weeks next to the intro skit section.
You did it, right? What'd you do all spring break?
Okay, so Jasper wants everything in by tomorrow. So what's something we can do really quick? You guys got any ideas?
I got it. Okay, it's episode 4, right? So you know how we have 4 hosts? We'll do the 4 hosts riding in on 4 rockets. No, scrap the rockets. The 4 hosts riding in on 4 dinosaurs, like to the Tyrannosaurus or something like that. And then we land at the school.
Okay, wait. I don't think we have the time or the budget for this.
Guys, hear me out, okay? I have this great idea. What if we get 4 bears and 4 cougars, and we make them duke it out in a fight at the next spaghetti bowl?
Where are we gonna get the bears and where are we gonna get the cougars?
Yeah, and where do we get the spaghetti?
We hope you guys had a great spring break.
Welcome to episode 4, season 7
of the Olyway Show.
It's a camera.
The camera not what they call.
Nearly 90% of cosmic rays entering Earth's atmosphere consist of what subatomic particles? I'm not a science teacher. How do I know this?
Oh, it's protons. Duh.
Protons?
Sometimes I feel like we have more knowledge than our teachers.
Hi, I'm here with
Mr. French
and Mrs. Bach.
And they are the leaders for Knowledge Bowl this year. And what do you think about the tradition about students going against teachers?
I think it's a great tradition. It's actually, surprisingly, one of the longest traditions Olympia High School has ever had in its entire history. And a lot of the times, the students win, so it is going to be up for a challenge for those teacher teams. And I think it's always also fun to see those teacher teams put to the test. Do they really know what they're talking about?
What can you tell us about the teacher teams this year?
Oh, it's some of the best 2 teams that we've ever put together. Let me give you the rundown here. Hopefully in edit in the post, you can put the list of these names. I'm gonna challenge you to that. Here we go. Team Snodgrass. Team captain with Team Snodster. We got Snodgrass as the captain. Bolts, Ray, and Means. On Team Schaeffinator, we got Schaefer as the captain, Myers, Grant, and Clark. Good teams, good solid teams.
What are your thoughts?
I heard that they went to school once for things and they might know Englishes and math, maybe, and some social studies.
I hope.
I don't know. I think my man is Snodgrass. Snotty all the way. Both worked at Elma. We're both amazing. That's all I got.
Hi, I'm here with
Mr. Snodgrass.
Mr. Schaefer.
And do you know how long this tradition started?
I do not know specifically, but I know we can go back at least about 30 years.
You know, I'm not sure. Mr. Snodgrass and I have been we coached from about 2011 to last year, and it had been around when we were teachers here and not coaching, so as early as 2005.
Do you think you have the strongest team this year?
No, I don't think it. I know it.
I think the better question is which team is weaker.
First of all, Team Snodster We got Paul bringing the heat ray. We got George Means business. Down this way, buddy. Here. George Means, maybe. We got Jen Nuts and Bolts. We got a ringer coming in. I'm not exactly sure, but I think we got a ringer. And, I mean, Schaefer's team is sad. The knowledgeable team is actually great, but I feel kind of bad about the carnage we're going to put on them before they head into the state tournament. But time to learn life isn't fair all the time.
We're both lacking science and math teachers, which is kind of the key to winning a Knowledge Bowl. And there'll be maybe 3 or 4 questions on social science and politics, and out of 45. So, yeah, not a real advantage for us.
What do you think your chances are against the students this year?
Oh, they're really good. They're one of the best teams, and we've seen a lot of good teams roll around. They're one of the best teams. So I think they'll be able to take pride in second place.
Second place?
Here. I expect them to win the whole thing this weekend, but I mean here, second place will be just as good.
Okay, that's a lot of confidence. Hopefully you guys can bring it up.
They're going to destroy us. But, I mean, you could probably combine the 2 teacher teams' points together, and we will still lose.
Schaefer, the other guy, he knows more than I do. I'll acknowledge it, but he is so much older than I am that his reflexes are dulled. And so this is where I'm going to be able to kind of come back on him and kind of laugh at him at the end of this. But ultimately, we're here to, help the actual Knowledge Bowl team. Beating Schaefer is just kind of the cherry on top.
We have amazing students because the teachers are so amazing at coaching them up, but we're specialists and they're generalists, so we're good at our fields, but unless we got, a team that covers all the bases, we don't stand a chance.
Okay, I'm here with
Grace Borden,
Dylan Borden,
Basil Elsner,
Ren Raisler.
And the first question is, what do you guys think your chances against the teachers this year?
pretty good. The students win basically every year, so.
Yeah, Mr. Snodgrass has been talking a lot of smack. I think he forgets that we beat him pretty bad last year, and so bad that I think he resigned from the club after we beat him. But I'm not saying that's part of it, but that was part of it.
I think it's a lot of fun to play against Schaefer and Snodgrass because they were our old coaches, so there's a little bit of rivalry there, like Dylan said.
Yeah, we just need to clutch up and get the dub right here.
Get that dub.
Well, it looks like they didn't take on the dub. Congrats to coaches Mrs. Bach and Mr. French, who guided our knowledgeable team to a state championship. This is the 10th time in the 40-year history of Knowledgeable for OHS. It's a legacy that includes former coaches Mr. Schaefer, Mr. Snodgrass, and Mrs. Violet. If you see them, congratulate Mr. French and Mrs. Bach, as well as team members Basil Elsner, Dylan Borden, Grace Borden, and Ren Raisler. The team came out of the gate with a powerful 45 out of 50 written round that set them up as number one going into oral rounds, and it stayed that way. With 120 total points from the tourney and about 20 points ahead of second place, they were a force to be reckoned with. Semifinals reset all scores. They took first in the semis pretty clearly. This set up for some deja vu from last year. In the finals, our team found themselves in a deficit of 1-7 at one point. Locked in with clear eyes and sharp minds from hours of competing, they came back and clinched the title with a score of 19-16.
Hey guys!
Oh, hi.
I was wondering if you want to join Stand Club.
What's that?
Well, all you gotta do is stand.
What's Stand Club?
All you gotta do is stand.
Oh, okay. That's not what stand is.
Oh, then what is it?
Let's go find people who actually know.
STAND is an acronym for Students Together Advocating Nonviolence and Diversity. We're one of the most active clubs in school, and every year we do projects relating to a social justice issue. For example, we're in charge of the MLK Assembly, and we do movie showings, discussions, rallies, and more. We're also in charge of the Family Assembly every year, but it's also often called the Cultural Assembly.
So this is our third time doing the Family Assembly, so we've done 2 other assemblies like this. We've done other things like this in the past, but we really decided to do this because our student body really wanted an assembly that was celebratory rather than something that was heavy like we usually do.
So we think it's really important to have the Family Assembly because it's just a way of recognizing everyone that's here. And even though a lot of people feel really disconnected and underrepresented, it's not that this assembly is going to magically fix that, but I think it's certainly a way of addressing that issue and making sure it's a long-lasting goal rather than a one and done. We also think that the family assembly is really important so that people feel like they belong and have representation, especially those that don't normally get recognized at our school.
So finding and selecting people was actually kind of hard. We had an open call on the announcements, but we also just asked people as they came along, and people have been really helpful and really receptive to the idea. It's a really big deal to try and put yourself out there as well.
Yeah, and like overall, there were lots of different groups and people who wanted to be a part of the assembly, but when you actually have to like find people to perform alongside you and choreograph and schedule things, that's when a lot of things can fall through. So overall, it was really hard to plan and pick who was going to be in the assembly because we wanted to get a diverse group of people, but we also had a lot of deadlines to meet, and we had to make sure everybody working would work as so.
And then it's also really difficult when you consider the number of people involved because there are organizers, people working behind the scenes, then performers and families. So I think in total there were about like 60 students or so. It's just very difficult managing everyone and making sure the selection process isn't too exclusive or like limited because the assembly is about inclusivity, of course.
Yeah, so I mean, it's obviously really great because we're seeing all the hard work we put in come out, and that's like a reward itself. But it's also really eye-opening because like these are our peers, and we're seeing another side of them and what makes them them. And it's also like cool because it's like, you know, we're learning about cultures and we're teaching other people about them, which is also just really important.
Students should take away a greater appreciation and understanding of cultural norms, traditions, and values, and also find a greater understanding of the difference and appreciate the difference between their own culture and our culture.
I feel that in today's world, with all this like commerce and like planes and everything, we get to meet people of different cultures and different backgrounds, which is a great privilege. And with that, it also comes that we need to have a better understanding with each other. And I feel that the assemblies like these help us learn each other, learn stuff about each other, learn their cultures, where they come from. And that's very much needed in today's world.
I think it really shows how diverse our school's culture is and like all of the different interests students have.
And through this assembly, I was able to show a new side of myself, such as with dancing and with Korean culture, and we're really proud of that.
I hope students feel more represented after this assembly, as well as familiarize themselves with foreign cultures.
We, our team, get to showcase off a culture that Olympia High School holds that nobody else knows that we have. We never forget where we come from. No matter how far you move away from home, just know you have a good representative of your culture here at OHS.
You can join Stand in room 106 at 8 a.m. on Fridays. We welcome everyone. It's a really big club, but we would love to have new members.
Where did they get that awesome bearware? I wish I had some for myself. Maybe if I can just look around for a bit, I can find some. Whoa, wait, is this the place? I would love to go learn some more about it.
Hi, I'm Haley Hallett, and I am the inventory manager in the student store. So we have 16 selected student members that are in the student store, and they range from juniors and seniors. You have to start as an application process, and then the selected people from the application process go into our interview stage, and then we select our members that way.
Hi, I'm Rhett Winkle. I am the operations manager of the student store. The students are responsible for multiple things. They're responsible for handling merchandise such as food and clothing items. They're responsible for setting up certain events like the Bears are, having the store open during both lunches and selling merchandise at certain events like basketball games and football games.
Hi, I'm Carter Fabricius, and I'm an employee of the 2023-24 Bear Den. So merchandise and prices are selected by just overviewing what vendors we choose first of all, and then seeing what they sell, what we can get that pass through the health guidelines for the school, and things that pass through the health guidelines that we think will sell well in the store are then selected to be sold in the student store. And we really use those with about a 33% markup and then are sold to generate profits. During the Bear Czar, the Bear Den generates $15,000 to $20,000 of profit, and for the whole school year, we generate from $90,000 to $100,000 just of profit.
So all the profits go to ASB, which then directly go back into either the student store or other ASB supported programs.
Profits from the student store every year, about $20,000 are taken out to go to the DECA Club, which helps send kids to the state and national conferences and pay for different things within the school to help boost the club.
I'm a fourth-year marketing student. My first year I took Intro to Marketing. My second year I took Advanced Marketing, and then the past 2 years I've been in the student store, where I've learned directly how to apply social media skills I learned in here. And last year I helped my mom open her business downtown, and I run the social media accounts for that. I'm also a fourth-year marketing student, and this class has taught me a lot about customer service and how to be patient, and that's kind of carried through in my job downtown at Row. And also it's cool to have a class where I can just practice my professionalism and learn more about careers ahead that I would have never learned about before.
I'm Cameron Downing, and I work the register. My favorite part is when I work in the register, seeing all the people who come in.
My favorite part about working in the store is getting to work with all the other employees.
We could have been so good together.
Running the student store as students, it really feels great being able to provide for other friends in the school.
My name is Max Winchester, and the responsibilities of the advanced marketing students are to set up the store for break, to bake cookies for lunch, and put money in the cash registers so that everything is set up for lunch already, so they don't have to do anything.
I'm Abby Carter. I do second period marketing, and a lot of the stuff we do in this class is working on different projects and working the store during break. We do a lot of restocking and making cookies. We prepare for fourth period next year, which is lunch. So we get to work the tills and just get ready for that.
I make sure to coach the kids in advanced marketing and teach them how to do everything from working the tills to baking cookies and stocking. Process of designing merchandise. Sometimes Ms. Boyer will have an assignment in her class for advanced marketing to make a design for a t-shirt or shorts or just really anything. And then she'll take whichever one she thinks is the best, or she'll have the students choose what they think would sell the best.
Hey, I'm Kingston Sanchu. I work in marketing too. I really like the freedom in the class, like the amount of things that we're able to do just with designing or just being able to have fun with each other and be able to talk to each other is just amazing.
I really like that it sets us up for real life experiences along with fourth period lunch, and kind of just along with what other people said, the freedom we have. We get to work on a lot of different projects, which I really like, and it just touches on a lot of different aspects of marketing.
Our student store is certified nationally at the gold level for food and retail, which are represented by these papers and plaques behind me.
So our school has met all 10 standards for food and retail. All 10 standards include the 10 standards for food and the 10 standards for retail. So we have to meet all of our health and safety regulations, as well as being safe with all the money that we have in the store and our products, and choosing vendors, as well as the way that we merchandise our items and display them within the store.
For the past 2 years, both our food and retail SBEs have qualified to compete at the international competitions.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Fabricius, and I teach marketing here at Oli, and I supervise the student store, otherwise known as the Bear Den. What I really love about this program is that this truly is a student-run business for students. I oversee and supervise, but really students are at the heart of this business. They make most of the decisions, they run the business, they get to take pride in the business. The money that we make in the business goes back to student activities. It's just really a great way to showcase all the skills that they've learned in marketing throughout the years to this high-level course.
Hey, Pepper. Man, is Salty littering again? How long has he been doing that for? That seems cool and all, but how about we learn the real history of you two?
That is a great question. As of now, I have not been able to find out any specific story. Best I could guess is that it has to do with a pep rally, a pep squad, that type of thing. I've looked in back as far as I could in annuals to find information. There is a great book out there. An alumni named Jim Camber wrote a book. I think it came out in the late 90s or early 2000s, just about kind of the history of the school. And there's some bits and pieces, and there's a picture in there of Pepper as far back as 1931. And it said Pepper, so I know it goes as far back as then, but how they actually got the name, it's killing me that I don't have a definitive answer for that. How was Pepper changed? So that picture I mentioned in 1931, it was a stuffed bear, like taxidermy stuffed bear, and it was standing on all four legs. And from my understanding, it was kind of like on a cart with wheels, and they could kind of pull it around. Obviously, we don't have that anymore. I can remember when it first switched to a bear outfit, a person in a bear outfit, as far back as I can remember. It was like a fuzzy suit, but the face was cut out so you could see the person. You could see who they were. It was almost like fancy pajamas, but furry, I guess. And I can remember there was both males and females that would be Pepper, but you knew who they were because you could see their face. And they were a large part of the cheer squad. And then there started to be a fully enclosed bear suit. And I know there's been a few different ones of those, up to the current one we have that we just changed out, I want to say about 3 or 4 years ago. You know, another thing that I would say has changed besides just the physical appearance of Pepper is kind of how we've run the program a little bit. We used to just have one suit, and it was really important to us that we wanted to get more people involved to be Peppers and kind of make it a little bit like the colleges do. So in colleges, if you're a mascot, your identity's unknown, and then they reveal it at the end of the end of your senior year. And so what we've decided to do is try and get kids from each grade level, freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, ideally 2 apiece. And the freshmen, obviously, we can't get until the following school year. But kids from different grade levels that can evolve and be Pepper for, ultimately 4 years. And then at the end of the year, and we did it last year at the assembly, we revealed those Peppers at the end of the year assembly, and it was kind of cool. And obviously some kids know if their friends are doing it, but some of the Peppers we have work really hard at maintaining their secret identity, and it's kind of cool. And the other thing is we have suits of different sizes, and Peppers can be at different events. That's kind of a, you're never supposed to see two mascots at the same time. But like if a pepper needed to go to a community event and another pepper needed to go to a volleyball game, they could do that because they'd be at different sites. So before we grew the program to have multiple suits and all that stuff, I found that I was using pepper for some skits because I used to be dean of students here a while ago, and I would often get asked we'd have like a message we want to get across to the kids. And instead of just kind of doing a bullet point, slideshow, like you guys need to do this, this, and this, we thought it'd be better to like do a fun little pepper skit showing kids, some of our behavior expectations and stuff. And so that's how it started. And then it turned out to just grew from there. But in doing so, because we were coming up with skits and using Pepper to do skits, it was a lot easier to come up with creative ideas if Pepper had a nemesis. And so that's when Salty was created. And Salty was we had somebody in our building make the Salty suit. We raised a little money and bought the materials, and Salty was created so that we can show how not to do things and have some more humor involved with Pepper and Salty. And Salty seems to be maybe a fan favorite with some of the kids, which maybe it's backfired a little bit, but no, that's a joke. Salty's been fun and goofy, and that's how Salty came about. And that's how it's changed over the years.
We hope you guys enjoyed learning about this part of OHS's history.
Remember to be like Pepper and don't be salty.
See you guys next time.